Hey everyone. All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're tackling a super important topic for your CUET biology exam. I'm talking about polygenic inheritance and pleiotropy. Now, I know these two have probably left you scratching your head at some point. Well, if that's you, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to crack this code together.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Have you ever really thought about it? Why aren't you the exact same height as one of your parents? You're probably somewhere in between, right? Or what about skin color? It's not just one or two options. It's this huge, beautiful spectrum of shades. And then, flip that idea on its head. How is it possible that one single tiny mistake in your DNA, just one gene, can cause a whole cascade of different health problems? These are the kinds of puzzles that simple Mendelian genetics just can't solve on its own.
So, why should you really care about this? Simple. Mastering this concept is your ticket to scoring big in the CUET genetics section. I'm serious. The examiners love to test the difference between these two ideas. They'll throw tricky MCQs at you, they'll hit you with assertion reason questions, and you know what? This is one of those areas where a lot of students lose marks just because they get confused. But that's not going to be you. Not after this.
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to move a little bit beyond Gregor Mendel's basic rules. You know, the stuff we all learned first. One gene controls one trait, like the color of a flower. That was foundational, for sure. But the real world of genetics, oh, it's way more complex. And honestly, way more fascinating. All right, first up, polygenic inheritance. The name itself gives you a huge clue, right? Poly means many, and genic is all about genes. So put it together. Many genes. This is when you have multiple genes all teaming up to control just a single trait. Now, there's a key word you absolutely have to remember here. Additive. This is the whole key. Think of it like this. Each gene contributes a little something, a small, specific amount to the final result. It's kind of like adding little weights to a scale until you get the final measurement. Let's make this crystal clear with a classic example everyone uses, human skin color. Just imagine for a second that it's controlled by, say, 3 pairs of genes. Okay? Now, each dominant allele, that's your capital A, B, or C, acts like one little drop of pigment. So, if your genotype is A, B, B, C, C, you've got all the dominant alleles, which means you get the maximum amount of pigment and very dark skin. On the other hand, if you've got all recessive alleles, A, B, B, C, C, you get the absolute minimum pigment, resulting in very light skin. And of course, most people have a mix, something like A, B, B, C, C, so they land somewhere in that intermediate range. It's all about counting up those drops of pigment your genes give you. And now here's a crucial exam tip. How do you actually calculate the number of possible phenotypes for a trait like this? Well, you use this super simple formula, 2n+1. That's it. Here, n is just the number of gene pairs involved. So let's use our skin color example. We said there were 3 gene pairs, so n is 3. Let's plug it in. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1. That gives us 7. 7 distinct phenotypic classes. Seriously, this little formula is an absolute game changer for MCQs, so please lock this one in your memory. And this is what's so cool. It perfectly explains what we see in a whole population. Because of that additive effect, you don't just get a few distinct categories. No way. You get what we call continuous variation. And when you plot that on a graph, it usually makes a nice bell-shaped curve. The extremes, like very light or very dark skin, are pretty rare, but the intermediate shades, that's where most people fall. And this doesn't just apply to skin color. It's the same for height, for weight, and even for intelligence.
Okay, let's totally switch gears now. We've just talked about how many genes can influence one single trait. But what about the complete opposite? What happens when it's the other way around? Well, that's exactly where our next topic, pleiotropy, comes into play.
So yeah, this is pleiotropy, and what it means is that a single gene has the power to influence multiple and often totally unrelated traits. I want you to think of it like a master switch in a house. You flip that one switch, and suddenly lights turn on in the living room, the kitchen, and the hallway. It's one switch, but it has many different effects.
A really powerful and, frankly, serious example of this is a genetic disorder called phenylketonuria, or PKU. Here's what happens. One single gene, just one, that's supposed to make an enzyme becomes defective. That enzyme's job is to break down a specific amino acid. When it can't do its job, you get this cascade of problems. You see mental retardation from a toxic buildup in the brain. You see reduced pigment in the skin and hair because that same biochemical pathway is messed up. And you see other metabolic defects too. All of this widespread consequences from one single faulty gene.
Okay, everybody, listen up. Pay close attention. This right here is probably the most important slide for your exam prep on this topic. We're putting them side by side so there is absolutely no confusion. Ready? Polygenic, many genes, one trait. Think skin color. Pleiotropy, one gene, many traits. Think PKU. I'm telling you, screenshot this, write it down, do whatever you need to do. Just do not mix these two up in the exam.
But wait, just when you thought you had it all figured out, there's one more layer of complexity we have to talk about. See, our genes, they don't operate in a vacuum. The environment plays a huge role in what we actually end up seeing. You need to remember this fundamental equation: phenotype equals genotype plus environment. So what does that mean? Your phenotype is what you can actually see, your observable traits. Your genotype is your genetic code. And the environment is, well, everything else. Think of it this way. Your genes are like the architect's blueprint for a house. That blueprint is pretty much set, but the final house, its appearance, can be changed by the builders, the weather, the kind of paint they use. You get the idea. And honestly, you see this stuff every single day. You might have all the tall genes in the world, but if you don't get good nutrition when you're growing up, you're just not going to reach your full potential height. Your baseline skin color is genetic, sure, but go out in the sun and what happens? You tan. The environment changed your phenotype. It's the same in farming. You can have the best, most genetically superior seeds, but if you plant them in terrible soil and don't give them water, you're going to get a terrible crop. The environment always matters.
All right, team, let's shift into high gear. We've gone through all the concepts. Now it's time to lock this stuff in for the exam. This is your rapid revision section. We are cracking the CUET code on this topic right now. Let's do this.
Okay, here are some quick memory tricks so this stuff never leaves your brain. For polygenic, just focus on that prefix. Poly means many genes. Super simple. For pleiotropy, I want you to think of an actor who can play one character but show many different emotions. One gene, many roles. And for that magic formula, let's say it together. 2n+1 phenotypes, done. Easy. All right, time for the final rapid-fire recap. What are the absolute must-know points? Let's go. Number 1, polygenic means many genes, additive effect, continuous variation. Got it? Number 2, pleiotropy is the total opposite. One gene, multiple effects. Number 3, that magic formula for phenotypes is 2n+1. And number 4, phenotype is your genotype plus the environment. Do not forget the environment. And now, to wrap it up, a final challenge for you to test your knowledge. Let's say a cross is made between two individuals and both have the genotype A, B, C. If we assume this is a polygenic trait, how many different phenotypes are possible in their kids? Go ahead, pause right here, grab a pen, apply that formula we just drilled, and really think it through. This is exactly the kind of application question you're going to see. So what did you get? Use that formula, solve this problem, and let that be the thing that cements this topic in your mind. You've totally got this. Good luck with your studies.